Good evening aspirants, welcome to Daily News Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 5th March 2024. Displayed here are the list of topics we are going to see today. Now before getting into the discussion, I have an important announcement. We are working on a new video series called Shankar Summary. It is current affairs compilation video. In this new video series, we will be covering important topics from this year's current affairs and we will cover it based on the subjects. First video will be uploaded on next Monday. And then we will be uploading this compilation video every Monday. So follow us on this video series and make use of it. Now let us get into the discussion. Look at this article. It talks about HPV vaccine, that is human papilloma virus vaccine, and its potential in addressing cervical cancer. In this article, we shall understand the important points about cervical cancer and also about the vaccines available for it. Firstly, let us see about cervical cancer. Cervical cancer develops in women's cervix. It is the fourth most common type of cancer among women globally. India has highest number of cases for cervical cancer. And also note that almost all the cervical cancer cases, that is 99% of cervical cancer, is caused by human papilloma virus. This human papilloma virus is an extremely common virus which is transmitted through sexual contact. Now let us understand about the vaccines available for this cancer. Currently there are two vaccines which are licensed globally are available in India. First, a quadrivalent vaccine called Gardasil and a bivalent vaccine called Cervarix. In addition to this, Serum Institute of India also created a vaccine called Cervavac. This is India's first quadrivalent HPV vaccine against cervical cancer. Now look at the strategy created by World Health Organization to address this cervical cancer. WHO outlines a triple pillar intervention called 90-70-90 triple pillar, which is to be implemented by 2030. It means 90% of girls must be fully vaccinated with HPV vaccine by the age of 15 and 70% of women must be screened using high performance screening test by the age of 35 and 90% of women detected with cervical cancer must receive treatment and care. So this is the 90-70-90 triple pillar intervention created by WHO. And this is regarding cervical cancer. Recently in 2023, HPV vaccine has been included in India's immunization program, which is Mission Indradhanush. Now let us move on to see the challenges against fighting cervical cancer. The first one is limited awareness and limited accessibility to screening services. This is especially in rural areas. Then there is socio-cultural factors which contribute to the stigma surrounding reproductive health. This hinders open discussion and early detection of cervical cancer. The lack of trained healthcare professionals and infrastructure also strain the capacity to provide effective screening and treatment programs. Additionally, the high cost of screening test and treatment coupled with inadequate insurance coverage is also an important challenge in treating cervical cancer. So in this discussion, we have seen the important points about cervical cancer, the human papilloma virus and the vaccines available for it, and also the challenges regarding the treatment of cervical cancer. With this, let us conclude the discussion and move to the next news article. Now look at this article. It talks about the status of leopards in India report which was released recently. So in this discussion, let us see the important findings of this report. Firstly, know that the status of leopards in India report was released by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The report says that there are 13,874 leopards in India at present. This is a significant increase in number of leopards from the last report of 2018. And note that there was an increase of 8% in population of leopards in India. The report also talks about the regional distribution of leopards. See, the central India and eastern Ghats has highest population of leopards. This is followed by Western Ghats, Shivalik Hills and Gangetic Plains. On seeing this report, central India shows a slightly growing population of leopards. On the other hand, the number of leopards from Shivalik Hills and Gangetic Plains shows a decline in numbers. Now let us see the state level distribution of leopards. Madhya Pradesh has highest number of leopard population. It is followed by Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So these are the top 4 states with the highest number of leopards. An important point to be noted is that in Odisha and Uttarakhand, the population of leopards declined. Moreover, the states like Kerala, Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Bihar and Goa also reported a decline in number of leopards. So the status of leopards report also talks about the worrying trend of increasing human-leopard conflicts. See, the leopard's adaptability in terms of habit and dietary preferences helps them to thrive in various areas like agro-pastoral areas, plantations, and near human settlements. But this led to increasing leopard-human conflict. In Shivalik region, around 65% of leopard population is present outside the protected areas. The data from Uttarakhand Forest Department shows that 30% of all human deaths caused by wildlife were due to leopards. And note that this will be a concern for policymakers to balance the life of leopards and the livelihood of villagers. So in this discussion, we have seen the important points from Status of Leopards in India report of 2022. With this, let us conclude the discussion and move to the next topic. Look at this news. On the last day of Raisina Dialogue, which is held recently in Delhi, India's Chief of Defence Staff said that Grayzone warfare is the latest thing in informal warfare. Now, what is this Grayzone warfare? See, Grayzone warfare means an unclear space that exists between direct conflict and peace in international relations. For example, the Chinese military's presence in South China Sea. In Grayzone warfare, countries employ tactics such as cyber attacks, economic coercion, and proxy conflicts to achieve their goals without directly engaging in open warfare. So the grey zone warfare blurs the lines between peace and conflict, and it poses significant challenges to international security and stability. So the Chinese military is conducting grey zone warfare in South China Sea and also in Indian Ocean. So this is a serious concern for India and the Southeast nations. So this is about the grey zone warfare. Now look at this news. Odisha government want to introduce female tigers in Simlipal Tiger Reserve. In order to improve the tigers' gene pool and to improve the sex ratio, Odisha government wants to bring female tigers from central Indian landscape. The central Indian landscape include the states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Maharashtra. Here we shall discuss about the tiger relocation and about the Simlipal Tiger Reserve. See, the Simlipal Tiger Reserve is Asia's second largest biosphere and India's only wildlife habitat for melanistic Royal Bengal tigers. See, these melanistic tigers have higher melanin in their skin, which gives them black and yellow stripes. So these tigers are sometimes called as black tigers. And note that they are only present in Simlipal Tiger Reserve. See, these black tigers live in isolation and they breed among themselves. So this is why Odisha government wants to introduce more female tigers into this area to expand the population and genetic diversity of these tigers. Now, why does Odisha wants tigers from central Indian landscape? See, the vegetation and climate of central Indian landscape matches with the landscape and climate of Simlipal Tiger Reserve. So the Odisha government wants to get female tigers from the states like Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. And note that the relocation of tigers from one area to another area needs the approval of National Tiger Conservation Authority, that is NTCA. And note that NTCA is created in 2005 based on the recommendation of Tiger Task Force. It is a statutory body under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is the chairman of NTCA. So this is all about the discussion. Now let us move to the next news article. Look at this news article. Yesterday, Supreme Court gave a landmark verdict by declaring that parliamentary privilege or immunity will not protect the legislators who take bribes to vote or speak in the parliament or state legislative assemblies. The court also says that they will undergo criminal prosecution if they involved in accepting bribes to vote or speak in parliament. This verdict overruled a 25-year-old majority view of Supreme Court in JMM bribery case judgment of 1998. In that verdict, the court said that the lawmakers who took bribes were immune from prosecution for corruption. So this is a landmark judgment. In our analysis, we shall discuss about the relevant concept of parliamentary privilege using mains answer writing approach. Now before getting into the discussion, look at the syllabus. This topic comes under GS paper 2. Now look at this mains question. It is necessary to codify the parliamentary privileges considering concerns about their misuse and potential infringement upon the individual fundamental rights. Analyze. See, the question asks us to analyze the statement. It means we have to verify the statement with relevant facts and cases. Now let us start with the introduction. According to Article 105 and 194 of Indian Constitution, parliamentary privileges are special rights, immunities and exemptions enjoyed by two houses of parliament, their committees and their members. Know that they are intended to ensure freedom and independence of legislature. At present, there is no law that has been enacted so far in this regard. So in our answer, let us see why we should codify parliamentary privileges. Now coming to the body part of the answer, we are going to talk about the need for codification of privileges. See, the first and foremost reason is that privileges are often vague and interpreted for the benefit of ruling party. They often act as a shield to protect MPs from prosecution of corruption, bribery for vote, etc. Secondly, as a privilege are not codified, they are vague and provide scope for increased misuse. Let us see an example. Recently in Lok Sabha, a member made a casteist remark which would have attracted immediate prosecution if it was made outside the parliament. Moreover, in 2017, the Karnataka Assembly Speaker ordered the imprisonment of 2 journalists based on the recommendations in 2 separate reports of its privilege committees. So these 2 examples substantiate the argument which we made now. Thirdly, the privileges are often antithetical to various constitutional principles. See, it is a sound principle of constitutionalism. We should maintain a balance between freedom of speech and the responsibility of MPs to act diligently. Many of the MPs are making communal statements inside the legislature and they are protected by privileges. The privileges also come in conflict with other constitutional provisions like right to equality, equality before law, etc. For example, the privilege of immunity from arrest and legal process is a special privilege for MP that are not available to other citizens. So this is against the principle of equality before law. The other issues which are often highlighted is the lack of transparency regarding the parliamentary privileges. As we see already, this process is completely opaque, so it makes difficult to hold the lawmakers accountable for their actions. It also undermines the public trust in legislative process. Learning from the global experience, today even the British Parliament has broken away its tradition of treating criticism as an infringe to parliamentary privileges. Moreover, Australia has also codified the privileges and now it's time for us to reform our laws. So in this way, we can provide the body part of the answer. Now moving on to the conclusion. In the conclusion, we can talk about various judgments and recommendations of Commission in this regard. According to National Commission for Review of Working of Constitution, defining and limiting the privileges is important to ensure the independent functioning of legislatures. In K. Anandan Nambiyar case in 1951, Supreme Court of India held that a MP should claim no special status higher than that of ordinary citizen. It means he is liable to be arrested, detained or questioned even during the session. So the parliamentary privileges goes against the verdict of this case. In yesterday's judgment, Supreme Court made a history by saying that a MP or MLA who takes bribes to vote or speak in the parliament or state legislature is not immune from prosecution. So an MP or MLA can be arrested if he took bribes to vote or speak in the parliament or state legislatures. So the court's judgment overruled its earlier judgment in JM bribery case in 1998. So this is all regarding the discussion. Now let us move to the next topic. Now we have come to the prelims practice question discussion. Look at the first question. Consider the following statements with respect to cervical cancer. Hormonal imbalance is a primary risk factor associated with cervical cancer development. This statement is incorrect because human papillomavirus is a primary risk factor for cervical cancer development. We have seen this in our discussion. Now look at the second statement. Cervical cancer is more prevalent among women who have never undergone childbirth. Yes, this statement is correct. WHO prioritizes HPV vaccination for females aged 9 to 13 years as primary prevention strategy against cervical cancer. Yes, this statement is also correct. So only the first statement is incorrect. The correct answer is option B, 2 only. Now look at the second question. It is about status of leopard report 2022. There is a decreasing trend in the population of leopards in India. This statement is obviously incorrect. As we have seen in the discussion, the number of leopards have been increasing in India. Now look at the second statement. Central India and Eastern Ghats has the highest population of leopards in India. Yes, this statement is correct. Maharashtra has the highest number of leopards in India. This statement is incorrect because Madhya Pradesh has the highest population of leopards in India. Maharashtra is the second highest leopard population state. So the question asks us about incorrect statements. So the correct answer is option B. Now look at the third question. It is about National Tiger Conservation Authority. National Tiger Conservation Authority was established based on the recommendation of Tiger Task Force. Yes, this statement is correct. NTCA is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. This statement is incorrect. It is a statutory body established under the provisions of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So the correct answer is option A, 1 only. So this is about the prelims practice questions. Now we have come to the end of the discussion. If you like the video, please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you.